Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and I welcome all of you back to another Rage video where tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are returning with another Domics video. Now, Domics is... I have quite a special place for Domics, especially here on this channel, because for those long-time viewers, may be surprised to learn that actually I did a reaction video to Domics, and it was the very first reaction video I ever did, all the way back in January 1st, 2018 was when I did that. And the more I watched Domics, I haven't seen him in a little bit of a while, but the more I begin to realize is that I should have been making stuff like this years ago. And you know what? Possibly when it gets to maybe in a few months, I may have to have a serious think about what sort of content I want to make. Really want to make from this point onwards. But at the same time, let's have some fun and let's enjoy ourselves. Now, the title of the episode is called Bored, and I think boredom is something very fascinating because it's possible to be surrounded by many, many distractions and not to be interested in any of them. Probably because there's something not appealing to you at the moment. You've got to have a logical reason why to do something and not just to not do anything. In fact, many people would say it's almost criminal to be bored with how much we have. But I think there's something about looking for satisfaction in things. That we've got to find things that, we not only will we enjoy, but things that are actually worth our time. And sometimes we want the best without any of the negatives, and that's what kind of leads us to be bored. But personally, from my own experience, well, certainly this last year, I've had very few things to be bored about because I've been busy through work or making videos or both at the same time. But at the same time, I would be called a liar if I didn't say there were certain things about this year where I honestly felt as if this seems this just seems like a waste of time, and I kind of lost interest halfway through doing stuff. But let's take Dom's take, because I know he's playing on a Nintendo Switch, and he looks like you could just about tell everything. I think fatigue and being tired has something to do with it as well. And I would be hard-pressed to imagine that sometimes I literally feel like I'm bored because I'd rather be doing something else. But anyway, if you guys want to check out the original video for yourselves, links will all be in the description down below. So let's begin. Bored in 3, 2, 1, and... Oh, he's... Oh. Yeah. I'm only starting to think for myself is that by just doing this video in the first place, you guys will be able to get a free code about this, so it's kind of like free advertising. Go me. More like go fund me. Bored. Ooh. Oof. That's a really bad idea. Yeah, and then the 1980s came around and everybody discovered, AIDS and heroin. That's to be fair, how often do you think it's going to be when you see someone like who was that one guy who used to do the winners don't do drugs ads? There's probably been many of them. Oh yeah. You want to know? Here's a very quick little story, ladies and gentlemen. I gotta tell you is that during my weeks in quarantine last year, you want to know one of the most well. Actually, I'll tell you two stories. The first was before I got back into work in July of last year. My hair was. It had been like months before I'd actually managed to get like a proper haircut, as well as getting being able to shave myself properly. And when I wasn't making videos, ladies and gentlemen, I was watching videos, or in the intervals, just finding something to read, maybe just to try something just a little bit different. But I gotta tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, it wasn't that I didn't have stuff to do during those days. It just felt like you almost wanted something to change. You wanted change. That was the thing I longed for during my days in quarantine, is change. There didn't seem to be anything worth doing, and there certainly didn't seem to be anything out there. And my room layout was basically this time last year as well. Apart from the time when I started moving all my stuff over there. But trust me, that's one of the least things I could talk about. Anyway, that kind of changed when I got back into work, however, because I felt that I now had almost no free time whatsoever. And that was a little bit of a shake-up, because you don't really begin to realise half of these things you have until you get away from them. But I think I'm still glad for, the way it happened, because I was now back in the real world. I was back into the world, world of work, responsibilities, money, finances, paying bills and taxes on time. I was in that routine, and I did it. I did the work very diligently, and I found my own work to get on with. And probably that's the reason why we're here today, and me making a video about this in relation to listening to Dom over here. Meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen, When my sister caught COVID back in June 23rd, it was the first time I had to experience quarantine to quite the extreme level of just staying in the house. My parents were away at this time. They were on a small holiday, so it was just me, my brother, and my sister alone in the house. And I gotta tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, the feeling of the fact that I just basically had all of my vacation time from work taken away from me, and now I'm just sort of like locked in my own house, like I was on tag. It was one of the most debilitating and one of the most mind-numbing things I've ever had to do in my life. I could have done things. I could have made videos. I could have read some more. I could have written some more. But no, it just, for whatever reason, I didn't feel as if like there was a point to doing it, because I felt like I was locked in, and then that might give me a. Of course I didn't want to make videos if I was just going to be depressed and like not in the mood. That's not going to equate very well to any audience. Nobody can do that. You've got to have a passion. You've got to have a reason to do these things. That's why I'm kind of glad that Domics does these sort of videos like every once a month, or once every 2 months, as the case might be. Because he puts time and effort, he's got to have like the passion and the energy. And I don't know if I will, people sometimes will say, well, if you've got Patreon supporters, then you haven't got that excuse. You've got to do it, whether you like it or not. Which, again, that's one thing and the other. You know, it's neither fish nor fowl. But the point I'm trying to make is that certainly during my days when I was having to like self-isolate, it just kind of was, well, more boring, because I would have, because I had things to do where that's, you know, were sort of like going to take me away from this for a while, and now I was being thrown back into them, and it's sort of like, well, why have I got to do this? Why have I got to do this just because there doesn't seem to be much point in doing anything else, or there was nothing I could do. So I spent my time watching like Asmongold over those few days, as well as watching T1. Good timing. Anyway, let's continue. Hey, hey. Oof. Well, I think we get the idea. We know how NordVPN works anyway. I mean, I gave him already one freebie. I think if you make sure to go check out the rest of Bored for the next 30 seconds if you want to know how NordVPN works. So, here's kind of like what I want to just say right now. It's interesting the way it sort of like ended, but when he said that time is somewhat more valuable, and it makes me almost kind of like wonder very curiously as to whether or not this is why so many people are that desperate to get money, because life is short, and if they don't, then they have literally like nothing to live for. There are other more extreme cases, I suppose, but that's kind of how that is. So, as opposing to just about here's sort of like how I want to end this episode, because I like the fact that, Domics, maybe he was possibly considering maybe dropping from YouTube just because he kind of like got bored of it. Which kind of makes me sort of realize, have I actually ever got bored of doing this myself? I feel as if like there's going to come to a stage in my life where I feel like I will be bored of the things I'm doing, and I want something of like, I want to have like maybe a bit more of a challenge. Like I want to make something look really, really professional and really, really exciting. So that's something that I literally will consider. So maybe what's going to happen is that maybe I'll continue doing this till I'm about like 25, and then I'll sit down and depending where, because I'm already making steps to like sort of transition from what I'm doing to what I'm going to be doing next anyway. And and the reason why I'm sort of like applying for new jobs anyway is not because my old job was boring and it didn't seem to be getting me anywhere. Although again, those two things are also perfectly true. It's the fact that it's still only temporary, but owing to how COVID has turned out, I've been needed there more than ever. But eventually I want to get to the stage where I want to try something that actually, kind of plays to my strengths. Like working for the BBC. At the very least, ladies and gentlemen, it's something more topical, it's something worth talking about. Now, I could change somebody's life for the things I might be doing on BBC Radio. I don't think you could get that sort of same level of success if through like, cleaning or, maintenance work, that sort of thing. That again, maybe those two things are true as well, but you never know. You never say never, do you? Now, aside from that, ladies and gentlemen, there's only one more thing I kind of want to say before we close off for today's video, is that having had like a bit of a better idea of how to actually, because listen, I'll tell you what, the reason why like animation, it wasn't so much like doing animation at university was boring, but it was rather I didn't feel as if like I was getting enough out of my time there. I didn't feel as if like the work they wanted me to do really like reflected about the sort of person who I was. And if I thought differently, then they thought I was mad. But that's just kind of like how it was. And aside from other things, university for me was boring because it was nothing like it seemed to be like all the negatives that you hear about on TV with none of the positives. And it wasn't particularly very nice. I didn't get along with too many people. and I just straight up was bored of the whole thing. And when you're bored, you can't do good work, ladies and gentlemen. When you're bored, that's a well-known fact, is that the prospect of how it's a long video and I don't have this, but anyone who's actually ever done animation or went to university to study it or works in a studio will say that most of the time, but not always, it is one of the most desolating and one of the most debilitating things you could ever think yourself doing. That's why I'd rather do stuff like what Domics does and, you know, go independent, because he does a great job anyway. So anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this reaction video. Please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys thought of being bored for yourselves by Domics, and I cannot wait to see all of you guys again in the next video. Take care, and bye-bye for now.